Hello, and welcome to Northern Nightmares, your home for nightmarish stories throughout Canada and beyond, and I'm your host, Andrew. Throughout history, the paranormal appears in many forms. One in particular is haunted objects. From mirrors, paintings, and even furniture, spirits or even demons can possess these things. Some examples, if you believe, hold terrible power, including James Dean's Porsche, the Hope Diamond, and even the famous Dybbuk box, a wine cabinet that is possessed by a spirit of Jewish mythology. There's one object alone that can unsettle some people, even without the presence of the malevolent. However, today's subject is about the possessed. Today, I bring you 4 terrifying tales, with some claim to bring ill fortune by just mentioning them. I'm talking about haunted dolls. More specifically, dolls known to curse those that disrespect them. With the utmost respect, I bring you the stories of these famous world-renowned dolls. Their names are Okiko, Robert, Mandy, and Annabelle. Say your prayers for me as I dive deep into their origins, where they are today, and why they must be respected at all costs. Our first story takes place across the world to the country of Japan, where ancient traditions are still common today. In the land where spirits and demons roam freely among its citizens, dolls are considered to have a higher chance of being possessed by something. Throughout the country, one can find many shrines dedicated to dolls. Instead of discarding them as trash, they are taken to one of these shrines. The Ichimatsu is a traditional amulet doll dressed in Japanese kimono clothing, with a small, rounded face and short black hair, are beloved by many people. Made usually by wood or plaster, with a pale white face, and can be either male or female. Also, one interesting fact is that these dolls are sometimes made with human hair, to make them appear more lifelike. However, most are mass-produced in a synthetic style. These dolls are most tied to ghost stories. One specifically is Okiku, the ever-growing hair doll. Hinu Matsuri, also called Doll's Day or Girl's Day, is an annual festival on March 3rd where Ishimatsu dolls are gifted for hope of good fortune. In 1918, during the Taisho era, 17-year-old Ikishi Suzuki bought an Ishimatsu for his 2-year-old sister named Okiku. Okiku named the doll after herself. Everywhere she went, the doll never left her side. A year later, yellow fever had taken the life of Okiku. With the family destroyed by this, they decided to honor her by placing the doll Okiku in an altar in her memory. As years went by, the family started to notice the doll's hair had grown past its waist, was mangled, and had split ends. When the days would get close to their daughter's birthday or the anniversary of her passing, lights would turn on and off, sounds of thuds around their home, and even nightmares would plague the rest of the family. Spiritual leaders visited the home and concluded the doll had indeed trapped their daughter's soul. They decided it was best to be taken to a shrine to be better protected and allowing the family to have peace than suffer the torment of the doll anymore. The priest of the Manhanji temple was fascinated to have the famous haunted doll in their possession. Here, Okiku has her very own shrine on display in a wooden box. Over the years, it's been confirmed that the hair indeed does continue to grow, and with further inspection is human hair. The priests regularly trim Okiku's hair, keeping her happy. However, it doesn't mean her power is gone. Okiku still haunts the dreams of priests that visit her today. Even her hair is still growing faster and wilder. One such event, a group of tourists came to visit her. only driving them off in terror. This was because Okiku's mouth had opened. One visitor decided to investigate the void inside her mouth, only to find baby teeth growing like weeds. Okiku remains at the Mahanji Temple in the town of Iwamizawa, Hokkaido, and if you wish to visit her, I shall warn you, though, if you decide to visit her, remember, it's like playing with fire. Okiku won't let you go unscathed. She will have her fun with you, no matter how far you go. Our next tale takes us all the ways to Key West, Florida, for a tale that I personally am scared to talk about. To the point, I choose not to say his name. But for this show, I'll make an exception. Exact origins are unknown of where this doll came from, but there's two popular theories, both around the same time of 1904. The first theory suggests it was a gift from Europe to a 4-year-old boy named Robert Eugene Otto. The other say a maid working for the Otto family brought the doll to the home and performed voodoo magic on it to curse the family because of being mistreated by them, and then giving it to the boy. Regardless of which tale is true, the boy loved the doll wholeheartedly, so much that he named the doll Robert after himself and decided to be referred as Eugene, his middle name. The doll is dressed in a boy's sailor suit, often thought to belong to Eugene at one point. Both were inseparable. His parents claimed that during playtime in his room, they could hear Eugene talking. However, another deep voice would respond. Mysterious and destructive things would happen around their home, often thought of Robert's doing. Some examples include seeing the doll move quickly throughout the house, weird sounds in the dark, toys being mutilated, and furniture overturned. With so much unsettling things happening over the years, Robert was placed in the attic and locked away to be forgotten. Many years later, Eugene moved to New York and Paris to pursue a career in the art world. In 1930, he married Annette Parker, and the two moved back to Key West to live in Eugene's family home. Eventually, Eugene found Robert still in the attic, and the two became inseparable once more, and making his wife the third wheel in this relationship. Whenever guests would come over, Eugene was forced to put Robert back in the attic for the time. Guests would claim to hear a child's giggle and even footsteps in the attic, often chilling them to their core. In 1974, Eugene would pass away at the age of 74. His wife would pass on 2 years later. However, in those 2 years, she had left Robert alone in the attic, and some say she went mad from Robert's influence, which led to her death. The house was later sold to a woman named Myrtle Reuter, which ended up discovering Robert, and the two became fast friends. Robert was in Myrtle's care for another 20 years. Their relationship is a mystery, but the only thing I could find was Myrtle claimed a child possessed Robert. In 1994, Myrtle donated Robert to the Martello Museum and still resides there today. In the early days of his residency, Robert was often kept out back and only taken out for special requests. Staff claimed to hear a child giggling and shadows moving quickly in the area Robert was kept. During the time when staff had to take photos for their archive, photos would never print properly, and equipment would suffer from unknown malfunctions. Upon further investigation, it was determined that one must ask Robert for his permission before taking his photo, or ill fortune would befall them. Having to carry Robert out for guests to see often made staff terrified to hold him. It was later decided to give him his own glass showcase permanently on display. At some point since he was set up, a little plush lion mysteriously showed up on the floor near his case, which came from another exhibit with a dollhouse. This was placed inside with him to offer some company. Displayed around him are strict warning signs about photo rules, as staff have received many apology letters from guests over the years, believing to have been cursed because they never asked for permission to take his photo. Also, it is warned to never disrespect Robert, as his power extends beyond the museum. Before writing this episode, I said a prayer to Robert asking for permission to tell his tale, as some podcasters have claimed having equipment fail on them, especially during recording. So I say thank you to Robert and wish him all the best. And if you would like to see him, he resides at the Fort East Martello Museum in Key West, Florida. As we travel to British Columbia, we visit another with similarities to our previous tale in regards to troubles with photos and equipment malfunctioning. At the Quensill Museum and Archives, here you can find a doll by the name of Mandy. Her origins are murky, as there's not much to go on from where she came from. What I could find, though, is that she was made around sometime between 1910 and 1920 from either England or Germany. Mandy is a porcelain doll with a cracked, weathered appearance, wearing a white dress and bonnet. In 1991, the donator claimed it was found in a locked trunk which belonged to their grandmother. Prior to the discovery, weird things happened in their home, like the sounds of a baby crying to loud bangs, thought to be Mandy's way of being found. Like our last story, the first night that she was taken into the museum, photo equipment would malfunction. And if there was a photo that was successfully taken, would come out distorted. The lab that Mandy was left in would be discovered the following morning completely trashed, furniture flipped over, paper scattered. It was like a child had a major tantrum. Later on, once she was properly displayed, a little lamb was found near her and was given to her for company as well. Mandy became a sensation in a few years, with many flocking to see Canada's own haunted doll. In 1999, Mandy went out for a little adventure to New York City to star on the Montel Williams show with guest star medium Sylvia Brown. Sylvia claimed Mandy once belonged to twins that died of polio. Their mother's grief was so strong that it would be embedded into the doll, and this is the energy people see. It's thought that Mandy, at some point, ended up with the donator's grandmother as a child many years before she ended up locked away in a trunk. Paranormal investigators that have visited Mandy have claimed many activities such as cold spots, touches, disembodied voices, children's laughter, and more. A reporter that was working in the museum lab on a piece about Mandy claimed to hear footsteps above him, and then their contact sheet jammed in the machine during the printing process, which never had happened before. Another claimed cameras stopped working in her exhibit, but work fine in others. One visitor from Surrey, Ontario, reported after returning home, her home was broken into. The only thing that was taken was a porcelain doll. Many people still visit Mandy today, and each has their own experience of the time spent. Come visit for yourself and check out her scrapbook. View the videos of her and see if you can experience something. Hopefully, Mandy is kind to you, or else the results may vary. Our final story most of you will be familiar with. For the rest of you, this is the queen of all haunted dolls. This is Annabelle. In 1970, she was a gift to a 28-year-old woman named Donna by her mother. She was studying to be a nurse in Hartford, Connecticut, also living with her roommate Angie and her fiancé Lou, who would often stay at their apartment sometimes. The doll was located on Donna's bed. However, it was said that it moved frequently on its own and attacked the friends on several occasions. The doll would often be found in other rooms after being left on the bed, and notes of sinister messages often discovered throughout their home. Eventually, Donna would hire a medium which told her the doll was possessed by a little girl by the name of Annabelle Higgins. It wasn't long after this that Annabelle became famous, which would attract an infamous couple known as the best paranormal investigators of the time. Some would call them grifters, con artists, and even frauds. Please welcome Ed and Lorraine Warren. Ed, a self-proclaimed demonologist and author, Lorraine, a clairvoyant, supposedly solved over 10,000 cases in their career. Some examples are the Perron family in Harrisville, Rhode Island in 1973, and Field Poltergeist in London, England in 1977, and the Devil Made Me Do It case, which involved Aaron Cheyenne Johnson, convicted of murdering his landlord, Alan Bono, located in Brookfield, Connecticut in 1981, all spawning their own movies in the famous Conjuring series. They also started their own organization called the New England Society of Psychic Research, or NESPR for short. The Warrens acquired Annabelle in 1970 after leaving Donna's apartment. Their first incident with the doll was on their way home, involving a near crash with Annabelle in the back seat. Annabelle became the crown jewel to their paranormal collection of haunted objects, which was in their basement of their home, later becoming the Warrens' Occult Museum, where she remains here today. The Warrens have claimed that the spirit of Annabelle was actually a demon and only wanted to inflict pain and suffering to her victims. A priest once visited the Warrens to bless her case, which she was placed in. Supposedly, he insulted her while there, and on his way home, his car went off the road and hit a tree. Another incident involved a young couple that came to visit the museum. The boyfriend made fun of Annabelle, and supposedly he also had touched her, as he had noticed her case was unlocked. On their way home on his motorcycle, they unfortunately crashed. The boyfriend had died, but the girlfriend survived. As the Warrens got older, the care of their museum and Annabelle was acquired by their son-in-law, Tony Spera, who married the Warrens' daughter, Judy, and also became the director of NESPR, which he's still in that position today. As of today, there's still weird things happening involving Annabelle. Just recently, paranormal investigator 54-year-old Dan Rivera, senior lead of NESPR, went on tour with the doll. In July, he was found dead in his hotel room due to cardiac-related issues. Rumors of Annabelle being the cause were quickly shut down, and supposedly she wasn't in his room at the time. But I'm skeptical of those claims. In August, comedian Matt Rife purchased the Warrens' home and legally owns Annabelle for the next 5 years. Let's hope he doesn't end up being cursed. The Warrens weren't the only ones to get movies. Annabelle also has a trilogy of movies. Annabelle, the first movie, was based on her time with Donna. Annabelle Creation was the prequel. It changed her origin by adding how she was created, as if it was never truly discovered. And Annabelle Comes Home which was about her early days living at the Warrens. No doll like Annabelle has received the attention as she has over the many years since she stepped into the spotlight. I personally believe with all this attention, her power has become so strong that she's beyond our control. This is Annabelle's world, and we're simply existing in it. So, if you get to visit Annabelle, please be respectful, or her revenge will spell your doom. And that's the story on these 4 haunting entities. I hope you enjoyed this, and maybe I've changed your views on how you see dolls. If you have any other topics that you wish for me to cover, you can email me at northernnightmares@outlook.com. Hit that subscribe button for future episodes and follow me on Instagram. Next week, I'll be doing my first serial killer episode, often referred as the Beast of British Columbia. See you soon, and sweet dreams.